Good morning, Mad Geniuses. Whew, I am having our last event here in the studio today as I'm being displaced for a business that lost everything in Swannanoa that washed away. So we are in packing mode. You can see some boxes packing up, and it is really hard to lose this special space. But alas, wanted to share three things that are on my mind and heart today about the WNC recovery. And looks like the screen is being a little twitchy. But anywho, we press on. Mental health. I'm going to talk about this a lot. I have a friend who is dealing with a family member today that is suffering from depression and anxiety, absolutely exacerbated by Hurricane Helene, maybe even brought on. I'm not sure of the full history, but it's absolutely a factor here as we all fight this. We've got to be strong, we've got to be tough, and yet we feel completely broken. Um, Everywhere you look, there is evidence of the storm still. I mean, every path I go to and from anywhere, there's at least a tree down, there's at least dirt on the road, there's at least something washed out. Um, so it's everywhere, it's nonstop. Today marks 7 weeks since the storm, and we are all changed forever. Just as many other survivors of natural disasters have shared in the past. And I'm learning that more and more as we go through this journey for the 5-year recovery that they are predicting. And that leads me to nighttime driving. Okay, I'm going to count this basically starting 4-ish as dusk is upon us. Traffic is worse. There's routes closed off or just more dangerous. So there's more traffic going one way than in the past. So yeah. And then as it turns night, I mean, it's just scarier. I think all the stoplights and lights are back on, but it just feels way darker. There's trees still jutting out. There's places you got to kind of not fully swerve, but you definitely don't want to be hugging the shoulder because there's a big log or stick sticking out that could scrape your car. Um, it's just, yeah. And, you try to trust Google Maps, but sometimes there's roads out that Google aren't on Google Maps. So it's just, I don't know. Nighttime driving is sort of scary, and maybe that's just left over from some very, very scary nighttime drives in the early days that I went through, and I'm sure others went through. So it's definitely a thing. I think most of us prefer to just be home by dark at this point, which totally sucks since daylight savings now has us with darkness at 5:30. So that's super, super fun. We could really use those 2 extra hours of daylight, I feel like, for mental health, for safety. Um, it is total crap that we still have daylight savings time. I hate it so much. And almost everyone I talk to hates it. So I don't know what we can do about that. It's one of those things that we're helpless about, I guess. Um, I'm apologize if this video is wonky. It looks wonky from my end, but what do you do? So I'll keep this one short. Um, Lastly, I met with a friend yesterday. We are going to start a podcast dedicated to the WNC recovery, and we're going to be mobile, and we're going to record at businesses that are open, that have reopened. And our entire mission is to combat the stat. Some of you may have heard this: 40% of businesses close after a natural disaster. And I've mentioned this before, but she added the fact that within 3 years, 20% more often close. So you're talking 60%. That is way, way, way too many. And we don't want to see that here in Asheville and Western North Carolina as a whole. And I fear our number is already higher because of cities being washed out. So, more details on that podcast next week, but it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to shine a light on the small business community. I think it might be hard for other people to understand just how literally almost all business in Western North Carolina is small business. So we want to help combat that stat. We want to help shine a light on businesses that are reopened and how they're recovering. We want to help businesses that are close to reopening. We want to help them reopen. I'm also going to be doing a mobile tour of some of these impacted areas: Marshall, Spruce Pine. So those will also be filled with podcast guests from that community, from that city. So definitely here to help support small businesses and help them recover. So yeah, that's the three things today. If you are able to join us, we have a workshop starting today at 12:30. It's called Financial Scenario Planning with Emmy Cubato, and it's going to be super, super spectacular. Cannot wait to learn from her, and we will leave with an Excel model to help us make business decisions. So we're going to get lunch from Pomodoro's, and thank you to our lunch sponsor, Jenny King. She is with First Commonwealth Bank, and she is a senior SBA business development officer. So she loves creative commercial deals and loves helping business owners stop renting and start owning. So 0% down loans, y'all, for commercial. So she is amazing. And thank you for being our lunch sponsor, Jenny. Okay, and then we're having a little happy hour today to say goodbye to the space. So if you'd like to stop by between 4 and 6, please do. And we'll have a little toast and say goodbye to this awesome space. We were the only space exclusively for women in Asheville, and we will be back, but we can't stay here, even though we want to, even though we hate leaving. All right, y'all, have a good day as best you can in this horrible, cold, rainy weather. It sucks really bad. And of course, thinking about all the people living in tents or campers or homeless right now in weather like this. Oh, we're talking thousands of people, I think, at this point. I think we're talking thousands of people living in tents or campers that formerly had homes. I will dig into that number, but I think that's what we're facing. So my heart goes out to them in these conditions, and it's just going to get worse. Winter is here. So we need y'all's love and support, especially through this winter. All right. Talk soon.